I can say something.
Call to order the Eldridge Electric and Water Utility Board meeting for February 17th, and it's 5 p.m. All right, roll call,
Peterson,
present.
Gooding,
Present.
Tadevich,
Present.
Hamilton,
Present.
Bristly's absent.
All right. Any public comment? Okay. And then going on to approval of the agenda. You want to make a motion? Motion to approve. All
Second.
in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then number 4 is approval of the utility board minutes from January 27th of 2026. Nothing different than what you remember? Anybody? If not, motion?
Motion.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Right, number 5 is the financial and administrative. Letter A is consideration to approve bills payable. Any questions? Wilson?
Motion to approve.
Okay. I'll second it.
Second.
Yeah, second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. B is discussion on meeting dates for March and some absences. I know I'm gone the 3rd and the 17th. Mark's gone the 3rd, the 17th. And I don't know Mike thought he might be gone for spring break as well. I don't remember.
If we have this availability or not. So you could look at the 10th and the 24th and just do the other 2 Tuesdays, or if you want to try and schedule for a different night on that same week.
Or, I mean, do you think with Mike, like, for a quorum, because
You'd need 3.
right?
Do you know if the 10th and 24th will work?
I can change, I just scheduled something the second week. I can change it right away.
Well,
Even if we can get, if we have 3
if you have
people.
3 people on that
Yeah.
first one in March.
So you're the new guy? Yeah. Okay. You're the new kid on the block? Yeah, I looked at the agenda.
Figured out if we
Maybe
could-
be a good one to
Yeah, opportunity for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to make sure, I mean, as long as Mike's availability is good, we can leave it at the 3rd.
You'll be on the 3rd and you'll be on the 3rd. Okay.
I think
The
the only,
3rd did work.
3rd works.
And you-
3rd works for me.
okay, maybe let's just leave the 3rd,
Okay.
for now, as pending Mike's availability.
Okay.
And then the 17th is questionable with Mike's availability. I mean, if they go someplace for spring break, that's the week,
That'll be
so.
the whole week.
But we could always do that. They could vote on that on this week of the 3rd.
Yeah.
That's enough time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's cross that one off. C is discussion of the fiscal year 27 budget for the water and electric funds. And Nevada, you have more to tell us?
Yeah. Okay. So we don't really need to go through everything line by line. I'll highlight the major items. And then if you have any questions after reviewing it or after going over those, just let me know. So starting with the water department, highlights the revenues, note a rate increase effective August 1st of 2026. Of 5.75%. So you'll see that reflected in the projected revenues for the water sales.
You said water, That's right? right.
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
What was it, electric percent
That's okay. We'll figure it out.
budget order? that's the only big change for revenues. Everything else is just projected out based on the last 3-year actuals and where we're at in the current fiscal year. That's how we come up with what that projected revenue or expense is gonna be. So going into the water expenses, the wages are at a 3% increase for fiscal year 27. That's based on the collective bargaining agreement. Wages in the water department cover 100% of the superintendent and 2 operators, 25% of the city mechanic, 20% of the utility administrative manager. There will be 20% towards the deputy clerk instead of the city clerk. It'll be, because that's gonna be a combined function of one of the billing clerks. So they'll be doing the finances, meeting agendas, postings, things like that. And then the 2 billing clerks that water has historically paid 20% towards as well. For the phone and IT, which is the fund line that ends in 6373, still in that 600 water department, you'll see an increase there. That's for the security cameras that we've installed, the ongoing annual fees for that software and that platform. We also are implementing the Samsara telematics on the fleet. That's the GPS fleet tracking for all of our city public works fleet, and the new Itron system. Down to fund line, meters and inventory, it ends in 6560. We'll be adding an additional 40,000 to what you see on the sheet in front of you. It's currently budgeted at 40,000. After talking again, we're going to increase that line by 40,000 for a total of 80,000.
And is that for the replacements that we've been talking about over the last month and a half?
With the increase of swaps plus the new bills that we've been putting in. So I currently, some of that cost is reimbursement meters for the larger ones for commercial users. So we are getting some money back on that, but 80 is gonna be safe, I think, moving forward.
Cause you were saying, what was that, 4 weeks ago, probably, like you were just gonna keep on going with changing these out since it was going smooth?
Yeah, cause we're kind of in like the 18-year mark, and those 20-year lithiums have a life expectancy of 15 to 20, so we're hitting there.
So that 40,000 that we're gonna be adding to the meters and inventory line is gonna come from the major projects line, which is the fund ending in 6780. What you see is 150,000, so that'll be reduced down to 110,000, and 40 of that will go into that meters and inventory line to balance the budget. We're gonna do another year with no transfer to the self-funded insurance. There's a built-up reserves in the utility self-funded insurance. The claims have been lower than projected for the last 2 years. But between that built-up reserves and the lower claims, there's no need to transfer out of the operating fund this year. That's all for the major changes out of the operating expenditures. Going to the 603 water depreciation fund. Your balance of reserves is approximately 442,447 for the beginning of fiscal year 27. We are looking at budgeting 65,000 for a new pickup truck in that for fiscal year 27. So that'll be updated to come out of those reserves. And that's going to replace unit 45, the current water truck. Do you know what roundabout mileage is on that?
2015. Mitch did some body work to it, and he found that the rust is a little beyond our skills, so he's gonna send it off to get quoted for body work. But he said it's probably better to potentially seek out a newer vehicle rather than put the money into the body work.
Is it a Chevy?
Yeah.
You use the plow in the meantime?
None of the water trucks are outfitted for plows.
They start rusting
No.
out at 14,
Yeah.
15
Oh,
year.
So that, we'll put about 65,000 in for the expenditures for fiscal year 27 for that. When that purchase is ready to be proposed, they'll come forward with the quotes for consideration by the board, and then get approval to sell unit 45 at that time.
I sent RFQs out today, so hopefully they get back. I give them a month to get specs.
And then for the 604 Water Projects Fund, we're gonna be transferring 40,000 out of the operations fund. That's that 600 fund that we just went over. The preliminary engineering report that ISG completed for us is indicating an estimate of between 400 and 450,000 for the aerator and detention tank reconditioning, and 200,000 for the clear well reconditioning project. We have 250,000 budgeted in fiscal year 27 currently, with 25,000 in engineering to put those bid projects together and oversee the construction of those projects. There's a balance in that project fund of approximately $265,619 right now, taking that 250,000 out to do the clear well and a portion of the aerator and detention tank project. We can still work with Lenny on the P&D loan through the state revolving fund that we took out for the preliminary engineering report, and look into rolling that into a construction loan, which was the plan when we originally approved to that loan, to use some of the recommended projects from the preliminary engineering report as potential construction loan roll up. So we'll look at that option, and what that would look like over multiple year payback. Questions on any of the water?
When you go to do that, can you get us like the terms and conditions of that? Like, not that it wouldn't possibly change, but just so that way we can kind of look at it too.
Yep, Lenny will come and present on that and go over those projects and what the options would be if you wanted to finance all of those projects into the construction loan and not use this 250 and keep that in the reserves. That would be an option. So you would have several options as to how much you would want to do if you wanted to do the construction loan, and then what those terms of payback are. They're very low interest loans, so they work well for these projects, but they're also easily modified to just fit what you need for funding.
So
They'll come and present.
we're all new here on this board, so what have they done in the past?
How long's it been since you've done a considerable water project? Probably a very long time.
Yeah, I don't know if there's been anything.
Well, that's why I was asking, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a common.
yeah. There's a significant number of large capital improvement projects that'll be identified in that
Exactly.
engineering report that he'll go over. And so now will be kind of the start of that process, which he worked with John Burmeister from PFM when they did the water revenue analysis to determine what those rate increases that he recommended were gonna be, and we're looking at that 5% over the next 3 to 5 years to start building up the capital reserves to fund some of those. He looked at a new well site and potential expansion of the treatment plant, and all of those options as things that we would need to seriously consider.
Now, has there been any more discussions? I know 6, 7 months ago, we talked about, like, there were some discussions with Iowa American Water, since it is becoming larger, the city's growing, like, any more discussions with them and going down that path?
So there were initial discussions on what some options would be as far as an interconnect for a redundant water source. Also kind of a territory type of agreement to, so that they could put some infrastructure for that industrial park. And as part of any agreement discussions that you have with them, they would put together, a proposal to obtain a durable system, which is just part of their process. Right now, they are waiting on that preliminary engineering report from ISG, and that is in the final review stages with staff so that it can be presented to the board. And at that point, we can release that information to Iowa American Water and let them finalize their proposal for what any one of those partnerships would look like if there was interest. So it should be coming back up, I would say, in the next 2 to 3 months, that you'll get that preliminary engineering report first, and then we'd be able to hear any proposed partnerships that Iowa American might be able to offer.
Okay. Yeah, I thought Lenny said something that's been on 10 years plus, probably since we've had a doing kind of thing. I thought he mentioned that.
Yeah, it's just probably about as long since they've done a significant infrastructure improvement for the water distribution system. So they're working hand in hand, and there was no rate increases, so it's gonna take a little bit to build up that reserve, to be able to support those, but there are the options of the revolving loan funds too, so.
Okay.
One way or another. Any other questions on water? Going over to electric. Nothing significant on the revenue side. Everything was basic projections as far as, revenue from the last 3 years into what we're looking at for this upcoming fiscal year 27. So jumping into your 630 electric operating expense account, the wages again, 3% increase for fiscal year 27. The electric wages support 100% of the superintendent, the journeyman, 2 lineman apprentice, one of which is likely to advance to a full journeyman level in fiscal year 27. They also paid 25% of the mechanic and then 80% of the utility administrative manager, 25% of the deputy clerk, and 80% of the 2 billing clerks, which is, all of that is the same wage distribution with the addition of the deputy clerk position.
Quick question, are the headers the same as on the first page for all these in electric too? Okay,
Yep.
just wanna make sure.
Yeah,
I have a question on the revenues real quick before we move on.
Sure.
So the investment interest. Budgeted in 25-26 was 200, and then it jumps to 426-27. Is that possible?
so the actual in 2024 was 370,000. And then the estimated for 2025-26 is 316,000. And we know for the electric fund that there's going to be an excess of funds at the end of the year. Their revenues are gonna be significantly higher than the expenditures, so that's gonna go into their reserves for the operating fund, and that's what that investment interest is based on. So we are anticipating 400,000 is probably low than what actually is gonna come in. The 316 is honestly probably low, what we would be estimating for this year, but we tend to put our revenues in understated.
So did that drop from 24 to 25 because rates went down?
So the 25-26 budget, I don't know where the 200,000 came from. It was probably just a very overly conservative estimate.
Well, I mean, from the 369, the actual to the estimated.
Yeah, so, when we're looking at that estimated, they would have taken whatever report they ran when they were working on their budget actively and divided the number of months and then times it out for the whole year. So whether or not the interest has actually been allocated for all those months is gonna be up to how caught up the finance manager is with doing that. So there could have been a month or 2 off. You're likely gonna be looking at an estimate much closer to the 24-25 actual, probably over that, because the balance is higher in the electric funds than it was at that time.
Okay. Thank you.
So, yeah, we're most certainly looking at close to 400,000 for investment interest. Any other revenue questions? Okay, back to the expenditures, the clothing allowance was broken up into 2 separate lines this year, so there's a new line. It's the 630 fund and it ends in the 6182, just labeled PPE. That's just gonna be for better tracking now that we've got the policy in place that identifies what is personal protective equipment as opposed to what's clothing allowance, and it allows us to get a better idea of what we're spending each year on that PPE. So we can budget that a little bit better and have good controls over that. For the vehicle operation line, the fund line that ends in 6331, that one you're gonna see an increase. That is again because we added that Samsara telematics GPS system for all of our fleet. The next one is looking at the 630 fund that ends in 5072 with the fund name Compass. due to the new contract, there's an additional cash deposit for Compass. It used to be just a cash deposit to MISO, but now under this new contract, we are also providing a cash deposit to Compass to be able to have working cash to mitigate the time that it takes for cities and other public agencies to get the approval to pay the funds. They're usually a couple weeks behind, and they're having to use other member cities' funds to provide that working capital. So this new contract requires a cash deposit from the municipality in the amount of $360,193. That's actually included in the fiscal year 26 estimate, but we left it in for the fiscal year 27 budget and included there too, because there's also a condition in the new contract that they are able to ask for additional working cash if they need it throughout the year. And they would provide a formula for how that was calculated and what we would owe to be able to give them the cash if they need to.
So do they ever offer any credits? I mean, obviously we use them, but I mean, obviously they're collecting off of everybody's interest now and also making money by doing this. Like if,
We
say
don't
by the end of the
credits
year,
on them.
or any type of rebate or incentive by doing this, I mean, they're sitting on a chunk of money by doing this, but it just kind of probably plays out on how it's being spent.
Yep, so we are not actually members with them, we just pay them for their services, so we don't have any of those member benefits necessarily, but we pay them for their services and then the actual working cash that they collect to schedule that energy services for us. Lost my train of thought there. So that additional cash deposit, and the cash deposit that they are now requiring at the end of the year for whatever they didn't spend, we could request that back. And we could do the same with MISO, but we don't. It's in there, it's out of our budget, it's not part of this annual fund anymore, so we leave that there rather than taking it back and then just transferring it back for the next fiscal year. So they just hold on to that cash deposit, but it would be an option if we needed to at the end of the year to take back any of that cash deposit that we give to either of those agencies.
Do you think that on that, because that same line, that Compass line, the estimated, I'm sorry, the 25-26 budget was 1.6. The estimated is 2.8. Now we're going down to 2.1.
Yeah, that's largely because of that cash deposit that we added in for that is getting paid right now, that $360,000.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And then we had a significant number of months where that energy cost was higher at the beginning of that fiscal year. We should see that level off in fiscal year 27. That's where that lower projection comes in. For the contingencies fund line that ends in 6605, we did include 20,000 in that for the potential of any additional project seed funding for the IPPA agreement. We did pay that initial seed funding, but there is the potential that they would come back based on any projects awarded that they would need additional seed funding from any participating agencies. Capital projects and ends in 6781. I believe it's going to be on page 2. It's got a budgeted amount for fiscal year 27 of 390,000. That is for a potential implementation and installation of an AMI metering system. That is something that the electric and water departments are working on actively with Sadie Engage, and will be presenting at a very near board meeting as far as what that system would entail. So that's budgeted in for that potential implementation. And we've got the transfer for insurance self-funding. The electric department is going to continue to transfer over the 15,000. It probably isn't going to be needed for this fiscal year, but the funds are there, and they've got a buildup of reserves in all of their funds, so they'll transfer it over just in the case that they would need to cover additional claims for any reason. Moving over to Fund 635, the electric depreciation. We're transferring 50,000 out of the operating fund. That's standard transfer each year. Anticipated balance at the end of fiscal year 27 in that depreciation account would be about $763,802. And then for the 636 projects fund, we are transferring 300,000 out of the operating fund. Again, that's a standard transfer amount each year as long as the funds are available to build for future capital projects. There is nothing major planned for fiscal year 27 for capital projects. So the anticipated balance at the end of fiscal year 27 would be $1,809,717. And then there's the renewable energy fund. It's just been sitting there unused. It was for rebates, back when it was established. We will likely close that fund out this year and just transfer that $1,800 over to one of the other capital improvement electric funds. Questions on revenues or expenses?
Okay, so let's go on to D, discussion and consideration to approve splitting costs of the installation of secure entry doors and the gates at the city shop.
So there should be a packet, a memo in your packet that Tony had put together. The wastewater treatment plant and the city shop do not have, the secure entry that was put at all of the other public facilities through Precision Concepts. And what they've currently got still has the codes, the universal codes that everybody is using, including former employees for decades past. So as part of trying to secure all of our facilities, we are working to upgrade both of those facilities with the secure entry. The only, cost sharing would be for what's at the city shop where the, all of the electric inventory is housed and where their offices are. And so for the city shop, they need a new main gate, that allows for the secure entry, key fob system to be installed. Then the installation of the gate fobs, and then there's 6 doors at $2,242 per door. The total is $34,000 for the city shop, $34,169. So the electric would be half of that. The water would not contribute to that. There's fund, they paid 100% for the funds at the water treatment plant. That's where their inventory, for the most part, other than some fleet, is housed.
How much would be for the electric part of it?
It would be half of what the city shop cost is, and that is about $17,084. And that's for 6 exterior doors. They won't do anything interior. The gate fobs, and then they have to replace the main gate. Right now, it's just a manually operated gate. They need to do something sliding so they can put that secure entry system on it.
So go ahead.
All the employees will have fobs and.
Yes, just like up here, so there won't be any more codes, and as soon as an employee is separated, we can pull them up, on our computers or from home, whoever the administrators are, and cut off that access. Plus, it allows for tracking, access into those facilities by employees, so.
I think it's a great idea. I guess my question is, you know, isn't there talk about building a new city shop?
So
How
that,
far is that?
yep, we did consider that. These, systems are able to be moved to the new facilities.
Gotcha.
Only piece that you can't move is the actual latch piece on the door, which is inconsequential. Even the gates technically could be positioned and moved. That was one big concern we had.
And is this allocated like normally everything within this structure is 50-50 between us and Tony's area?
For the, inventory and things at the city shop, it's between Public Works and Electric. Very few things the water fund might contribute to, nothing as far as the actual facility, but potentially some small people like maybe the lease ice machine. But for the actual facility, that is, the Public Works, so it'd be between sewer sometimes parks, and then electric, because those are the main inventory and offices that are.
But sewer and parks aren't going to.
Yes.
contribute.
Yes, they are. They're doing the other half,
Oh, I thought you said it was 50-50 between,
city and utility. So city is sewer and parks. Utility is electric.
So I guess we need to just choose.
So the city council approved for the lower of Sampson fence, it was
Yeah.
lower by a considerable amount, and then the fobs are just they are, there's no.
Yeah, there's no other. Yeah, for that one, okay, so. We're voting to approve and move forward with Samson and Precision Concepts,
The amount of approximately 17,000.
which was actually Redmond's original quote altogether, so, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep, who wants to make a motion?
second,
And Rich, all in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Any department update?
They left me with, one thing. It's compliance busy season. City's been working hard to get together the data and complete, reporting and tax forms that are due within the next couple of months. The Me-1 and the EIA-861S have been completed and submitted and are currently under review. The statewide property tax return has been filed and sent. All of the necessary information is attached and submitted to Alan.
Moving on to number 6, electric department, any outages? Maybe.
Yes. Outages, reported at 8:10 on 2/3 of 26 at 551 West Price Street. Cause was animal contact to the transfer. Power was restored at 8:40, 4 customers were affected. That's all he had for that, for outages.
Okay. We had the discussion and consideration to approve resolution 2026-01. E and W approving restated and amended the CMMPA participant agreement.
This is that Compass contract that we were just talking about.
Right.
I think, and I don't know if you had any discussion with Mike prior to this. I know he's pretty into the MISO and like looking at this. I don't know if there's a rush on this or how quick they need this, but I don't think it'd be a bad idea for like Mike to be able to look at this and put his 2 cents in with this as well.
We can have him, look at it. This has been in the works we've been going through this, contract negotiation for somewhere between 18 and 24 months. Ehlers and Cooney has handled it. This has been our energy scheduling service provider for since 2009 or before. So in order to switch energy scheduling services, we would have to do several large infrastructure projects for the electric, which would take approximately 3 to 4 years from the conversations that we've had. So regardless, we would be signing a contract with Compass to continue those energy scheduling services. That's not something that we can do in-house. This is a 3-year contract, and the significant changes in it are the cash working deposit that we would provide to Compass, which they calculate based on a 3-year billing average for our most recent 36 months of billing, which resulted in a credit support obligation of $158,000. We have our current deposit to MISO and their collateral. So total collateral, we're at about $535,000. current deposit that we have with MISO is 309,000, so the Compass working cash deposit is gonna be 225,335. So besides the working cash, the other thing that it gives them the opportunity to do is come back for that credit support obligation. If something comes up through the year that they need that working cash, they can provide us with a formula that's been laid out in this contract, and it has several controls to check that, and Ehlers and Cooney would look that over as well. And then we would provide them that extra credit if needed to be able to continue scheduling our services. We are not members of their service co-op, but we pay for their services on a different level. So we have some different contract than what their members of Compass have, but again, we pay for those energy scheduling services. But we did have Steve Nadel and Aaron Hilligus from Ehlers and Cooney, who have been longtime attorney for utility operations. They worked through this contract with Eldridge and Montezuma jointly. And we finally got to a consensus on the terms about 2 weeks ago.
What is the difference, like, to become a member? Like, what is that, has that ever been discussed or looked at?
It has, I'm not exactly sure what the benefit would be, and the municipalities typically aren't members, those are usually private, co-ops, private companies, but I can get a little more
Just
information and background on that. It's likely has something to do with the membership benefits and not being of service to a municipality as a public agency would be my guess. We're discovered differently, but I can find out a little more plain language on that site. I don't know for sure.
On
We
page,
have, sorry, go ahead.
on page 5, got some rates at the bottom of the actual contract. What are those rates for? Like, what are we? $10 for what? There's significant increases between years. Current rate, year 1, year 2, year 3.
I believe that's the rate that we would pay for their energy scheduling service above, from what they ask for us for the cash. They'll do their cash requests that they are performing the transactions with the agencies that we're having the power transactions with.
Guess I don't even see what it's like, what they're calculating, like what are they calculating there?
I'd have to get an invoice out and look at it. Down.
Is this the same company that had the mistake in billing practices?
No, that was myself. This is Compass. This is an energy scheduling service provider. They're excellent. We've had a really good working relationship with them. We haven't had any tension or any issues with them. They've been more than fair. It just took a long time to work out the terms of the contract agreement, but we can always get them, Ehlers and Cooney on a call too, to talk through the contract.
Here's what it is, what I'm looking at here.
So on page 10, it will tell you the breakdown of the rate. And what it's for. Which one?
I think it's, so that. The base rate for the MISO services for the generation dispatch services is the year 1, 2, and 3 rate that you were referring to on page 5, and then they take into consideration administration costs. And we have a full breakdown there. What we pay Compass is factored into the power cost adjustment that we calculate quarterly and is passed on either as a credit or an additional charge to the residents in their electric bill. So we have all of that, the cost for Compass and all of their invoices broke down as well, which we can send over to you.
Is there a timeline, like, of when, just because it is a lot, contracts, that's like,
Yeah, do we want to schedule for Ehlers and Cooney to come talk through the contract? This is definitely at a level, I mean, they'll be able to explain it in the,
I think Mike probably gets the gist of it, because he does these quite a bit.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot.
can we take, and then just like get back to you guys and see if we can make it to the next meeting?
if Ehlers can make it
Yeah, they-
on the third.
if they need, like, if somebody wants to, otherwise we can put it back on the agenda, maybe on the third, and,
Well, on the third, are you gonna be here?
no, but like, I could be on call, I could listen.
Otherwise, we could do a
Yeah.
special meeting. I don't want to
That's
push it
fine.
out.
I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure everybody, I wanna make sure everybody heard it, so that.
Yep.
New kid will be on the job too, so.
And to make sure that everybody has a chance to look at everything before we fully,
Great.
just make sure we're understanding what we're agreeing to. Liability wise. Is there any bonus?
It's a lot of paper.
It's a lot of, it's, yeah.
That's what you can do with your morning.
Just keep on reading. So, do you guys want some motion to table and bring, give us a little more time with that?
Motion to table.
Motion,
Second,
good in seconds, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Yeah, and then if they could just be there, like, and maybe we can just take a few days and even look at it and then get back.
Yeah, I'll see if they have to completely, they're out of Des Moines, but I think
Yeah.
they should be able to jump on a call and walk through the
Even if we
contract or
could
any questions
do
that
just
you have.
a special, meeting or something.
Yep, I'm
If
sure
it
they'd
doesn't
be happy to do that.
But I know they're probably somewhat, you know, already spoken for. Any department updates for electric?
The crew has completed new electric service installation and pole replacement at 301 West Donahue Street. And they are currently continuing, electric installs at Ivy Acres subdivision. All I have.
Thank you. Moving on to number 7, water department. Any water main breaks coming or Keegan? All right. I was just thinking.
Okay, sure.
can I ask a real quick question before we move on? What is this?
That is the
That's-
ECMR 5
Okay,
testing that we did for the EPA.
gotcha, okay,
Water main breaks, we
thanks, sorry.
we're good. We did an investigation today. There's at 201 West Price Street. They said that their gutter had been damp next to their driveway for a couple of days. So we went and looked at it. The ground is soft there. So it's something we're gonna keep an eye on, but we can't see anything visible bubbling or something, anything like that. Redmond Circle, Dale Grunwald had contacted Tony Group saying that there was a potential leak over there. We went and looked at that. There is bubbling water over there, but Dale said they will take care of it when they dig up the foundations for the lots that are being built out over there. So we're gonna keep close contact with Dale just to monitor the maintenance on that.
Where was that? at?
Redbud Circle, south of Redmond.
Okay. Water test results.
Bactines and fluorides have been submitted. We have not gotten results back. And then back to what Mark had asked about, those are the ECMR 5s, the unregulated contaminant monitoring tool that the EPA sends out. We did a test back in July, and then we did more tests in December. Everything that we sent into them passed. The number that you want to look at is the MRL, which is the maximum residual limit. And we're under each one of those, so every one of our tests was approved by EPA.
Jack, Keegan, why do we keep calling you back when you're in his
He's
seat?
such a great guy.
Cause you're in his seat.
Yeah, you
You're
usually
usually
move
over
over.
there.
Yeah. Don't be moving chairs. Okay, C, discussion and consideration to approve maintenance and repairs for well number 4. Which I think this was on the horizon, correct?
Yes, because we had Northway Well Pump do the full inspection, so this was to be expected for them to have to do some portion of maintenance. The shale removal that he has, I think in the second paragraph, that had to be done in 2022 when Peerless did inspection and maintenance on well 4. So it seems like it may be a continuing problem that we're gonna have at well 4 every time we service it. They said that there's about 40 feet of liquefied shale that needs to be removed. We have not seen any issues at the treatment plant as far as breakthrough. So we're good for now, but I think it would be a good thing for us to at least get rid of that. And then I believe on one of the pictures, it showed that one of the portion of the shaft was cracked.
Mhm.
And they recommended going away with the material that we currently have and upgrading to stainless steel. They said that every well that they service with stainless steel, they can go decades without maintenance. For replacement.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's probably a much better material,
We're on, so
price wise. And I assume that we have this okay for within our budget yet, as our, from last year.
Yeah. Pardon me, but
It's, we're still capped.
we still have over 100,000 in our major projects fund.
Okay, just keeping track.
So are they gonna do the shale or are we gonna do the shale?
They would do the removal.
What line item is that? I was just trying to see, or if it was kind of included in their field labor, is it rolled up from that?
Yeah. We do not have the equipment.
Would be number probably 18 or is it 17?
I didn't print that.
17 says field labor to bail accumulation from well 4, estimated at 16 hours. 18 is 3-man crew with 25 ton service rig to install. So that would be the
So
install.
17 would be the line item for removing the shale.
I mean, I think if everybody approves this, maybe get some verbiage in there that is included in theirs, just to be safe.
Yeah, I believe he says in that paragraph that he assumed we would be doing that removal.
We should remove.
That is something that we've had to do, have had done, that one.
Never know though, it's the language.
Yeah, I mean,
So I said I would just,
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple, something for them to add, but.
Yeah.
In the past with contractors, I mean, it's like, we said we might do this, or we've done it in the past, but we didn't. include
we
it.
should remove, but it wasn't, but yeah.
Yeah.
If we can just, I'm sure of that verbiage, I think it's good to know though,
I was thinking shale removal.
just in case.
It's awesome to work with, so I double did anything they asked him to.
We want to pass that pending the, can we do that, or should we wait for it to come back? Yep. Right. Motion to approve the repairs on well 4 pending
Updated
updated
language.
language to include the shale removal.
motion.
Second,
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to number D, discussion and consideration to approve the generator rental quote.
This is like we discussed last time, this would be River City Engineering assisting us with testing the new temporary generator connection that was installed. the generator rental from River City Engineering. I think they're doing it from Old Worker. It was 2,000 for the generator rental for a 1-day rental. And then they would be here for 4 to 6 hours, including setup, test running, breakdown, and then cleanup. So it's about $1,500 per labor.
Is there a proposal for that?
So it was it was Eric Worley from River City Engineering. He sent just the email with the generator rental cost. And then he sent that breakdown of their labor cost. And he said it'd be 1 journeyman and 1 apprentice. Then I emailed him back. He said on the high end, it would be $3,500.
And we're
And
just,
I would have them put whatever it is, not to exceed, or put something in that language.
It's an agreement
Again,
not to exceed prices.
it's, I don't know if you really want to say not to. I mean, we can pick a not to exceed if somebody thinks it's gonna be.
Yeah, when I had asked him if 3,500 was on the high end, he said that yes. I'm hoping it'd be less than 3,500.
Sometimes if they know the not to exceed or.
That's what I was gonna say.
Just tell them that's just the approval that you guys,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have to tell them that that's the.
Yeah.
Based on what he told them for cost.
If you rented
that
that
one in it, we're
generator from Altover, who would be the ones hooking it up?
yeah, it's.
There, and that's from the.
Not in-house?
That's the hard thing.
That's
We're
what
we're going to do it with them, so we understand how
For the
to
generator.
do that.
So they're gonna train you on it as well.
Right, but then talking to All Forford, it sounded like All Forford said that they would, if we ever rented that from them, that they would come look it up. So it could be either or.
So that's something we need to.
And what was all worker gonna charge to do the same?
They wouldn't do the test run.
But what would they charge for the just rental of it?
I think it's the same price.
The quotes for the rental.
The 2,000 per day.
So just so I understand this, and this is so if we have to rent a generator and bring it in an emergency situation, that it works correctly, right?
We are making sure that system we just installed functions the way it needs to.
Okay.
How do you guys want to proceed with that, just to motion to not to exceed, or this,
I don't know if we wanna say not to exceed, because that's
I know.
running a business, guess what?
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, there's no reason like they could do a time and material. And like, obviously, if you know it's for a year or two, a lot of companies do that. I mean, you probably get stuff like that. I mean, how do you handle it? I mean, I think I'd be more about, hey, we've got this, you know, what would this be for this first year? If we do this, we know that we need a journeyman and apprentice on site.
This is just this isn't,
One
Yeah, this is
day.
this is just one time training them
Well,
to do
same
it.
thing, I mean.
They're just bringing it in, hooking it up and making sure that.
Everything
it powers the
works.
plant.
everything works.
And
But
then,
would we want something though in case it didn't work? We're obviously gonna call River Cities. If for some reason,
That would have to be put into a contract. If it was gonna be like an ongoing relationship, this would just be for
yeah,
the
this
one
would be
day.
a one-off to essentially train
It's
us.
basically critical
And be
operations
outside.
training.
But it sounds like Altover is offering, if we would actually rent it, they would hook it up.
They would have a tech that could come hook it up.
All right,
I wonder if
They
there's a
still
way
have to
to,
run it.
right.
I mean, it's probably important for critical operations that we don't find out in an emergency event.
Yeah, somebody's gotta be trained to.
yeah,
Installed the switch.
River City Engineering.
yeah.
Yeah.
So. Motion to approve the rate schedule.
motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Alright. And moving on to E, discussion and consideration to approve adding water main work to the 25th and 26th Avenue project. So these are some of the ones that we've gotten back.
Yeah, so all of the maybes we got, they all marked yes, but it seemed like they all wanted the cost of installation. So in the tally is 7 yeses and 4 nos,
And how many were sent out?
which
20-30 or so.
it was 28 houses that would be affected. Over a little shot of half that have responded.
And what was the suspense date on that to get those back?
I thought I sent out more than that.
I sent them, I think it was probably, it wasn't. it was-
Maybe I'm thinking that's a different one. Sorry.
That's it.
I don't know, when the deadline was to get it back. I don't think it's specified.
Yeah, I don't think that we did either, but our bid package for the city portion. Going out to bid. And like. That's the plan.
Dependent, yeah, hopefully.
And what was your name? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, no, sorry, Zach Hall, Shy Battery.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working on the roadway design, for this portion, so then I just brought up Keegan, part of our project, because we're doing a full replacement of the road, so it'll be completely tore up and new road. And going through and whatnot, if this would be a good opportunity if we wanted to have one. So, I don't know. Now we're sort of-
Well, welcome, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So obviously. Do they, I mean. They're just paying, everybody got a well out there and I was paying for the electric. And are they? Do we have any clarification on the cost? Are they talking like obviously? They are responsible from their home out to the connect. At the easement. And that can vary, that's they're on their own.
Typically, that's developer costs, right, and they would cover in subdivisions.
But these are,
But these are
It's not
established,
existing.
they're existing
Right.
established homes,
So,
right?
yeah, so
So
there's
it's not
not a
that.
typical process
Yeah,
for
I mean, I
this.
think what we talked about and what we kind of put in the letter is that, like, if people agreed to tie in now, the city would pay to cover the cost to run to their house and put in a meter. To cover their house, yes.
I think in the current estimate, it looks that we would be covering the cost of the installation of.
Who, does that come out of the water budget or does that come out of the city, like planning and development budget?
It would be out of the water because it's water infrastructure and the revenue from those service lines would only be able to go into water, so it would only be able to be paid for by water for accounting, but when you weigh, I mean, you lose a lot of people wanting to hook up if they had to pay.
Right,
So paying, you have to look at what the benefit in the future would be to having those water customers on public water.
so what is the estimate for us to do that to all these houses? And we'd have to have approval for them to even do it.
That was $100,000, it was $100,900. I think it was close to that for the copper connections, the 1-inch service.
To every house.
To every house or just the ones that would have said yes?
That would be to every house.
Well,
So I
So
think,
that would be higher.
I think if you would you approve doing the water main, I think we would run a service to every house and just, if they don't want to connect now, we would just stop it probably at the right of way with the curb stop.
Curb stop.
And it'd be there.
Yeah.
And then
They would
if
have
in
to
the
pay.
future, then they would have to pay
Right.
any connection. So this would kind of be an incentive more or less to connect now.
So do we need to get more information out to those people that have said, you know, depending upon cost and rate, I mean, do they not know the cost and rate? But, you know, obviously,
I mean, there hasn't been any projected costs put together yet, so the authority has to come from you guys to do that. So, I mean, what we would do next is get that project cost, it would become part of the bidding package and it would go out to bid for the project. And then there would be information sent out to the residents of if you hook on as part of this project, because we're going to run water main, then this cost will be covered. If you don't, the option will be there because we're running water main and you would have to pay for that cost if you decide to in the future.
so we're looking at roughly $100,000 to put water to every house that doesn't have city water out there right now. Copper 1 inch to service to their homes.
How many houses?
How many houses is there?
They sent out about 30 letters, they weren't for sure.
I think there's 26.
27.
But we'd be looking right now at just 25, 26. The rest of it would be part of the next project, Wilmar, which is 1 to 2 years out.
Is that the other side, the downstream? Okay.
Plus the cost of the,
Yeah, so I mean, the whole cost of it is much more than 100,000.
Right.
Right, but
This
to
is
the
just
houses.
from the curb stop to in.
Yes, it probably wouldn't, yes, like that around 100,000. Yeah.
Okay.
But, I mean, we wouldn't run it just because they said they were gonna hook on. They would actually have to hook up to services and for us to pay the cost. We aren't gonna run it,
Right.
have them say they would hook up.
That's what I'm
At
trying to
some
figure out,
point.
like, oh, down the
Then
road.
it's on them. They either do it now, it's on them.
Well,
Right,
or we stopped at the right of way and they will pay for the service to be run to their house when they're ready to hook on. They have to actually hook on to city utilities for the water department.
There was one person that inquired if they would be able to keep their well for gardening and outside use.
Mhm.
I talked to the DNR and they said that all they would need to do is keep the systems completely separate or separated by backflow prevention. So they
Right.
double check valve RPZ.
Mhm.
So I did talk to that resident and told them that if they kept their systems completely separate, they could keep their well for outside water use. But if they weren't to connect to city water, it would have to be its own plumbing system.
I think that's the biggest thing that people need to figure out, really look at what they're using for, because I know we're not on it, and I would not ever want to know what my bill would be if my grannies took showers on city water. So, you know, it's like,
It's not that. You've got great.
We're the
ways.
lowest.
yeah, I know, but have you? Buttermilk.
I assume this would be an addendum or a supplemental bid to keep it separate when you put it up.
Yeah, how do you envision this and what is like our working?
No, it would all be just probably put together, in the same bid. Obviously, there'll be line item in the project for all the water, and I assume then you just would break
We
that.
separate it. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, we would just bid it all out together as one project.
But we would know the project costs allocated to the water.
Yeah.
Main and the water
Right.
services, and then we would break out that funding with each payout as it comes in, and it would be billed the same way we do for the city.
Yeah, I mean, as long as, I guess, my only concern is that people know what they're actually signing up for in the contract, and that we would be having them sign that this is it, this is done, and this has to be done, and this has to be done. And I'm assuming from licensed plumbing, especially if somebody wanted to keep their well for gardening, we need to have that documented that they actually do have a backflow preventer, and then that's gonna have to be inspected and add to the list of backflow prevention inspections.
They would
That's
have
all
to-
the image.
That DSI list that
Yeah.
we did last year, so
Okay,
DSI would end up taking over that.
okay,
And these guys would perform the services for hooking up to the utilities, so we would know when, as part of that process.
That we would do the meter install.
okay.
But obviously, any household plumbing that needed to be adjusted would have to be a licensed plumber.
Correct, okay.
Zach, what would you expect as an engineered estimate, the cost of doing this project after the fact, if it was not done now, or if the streets completely tore up, double? Triple?
Probably around like double, cause yeah, you're tearing out you're tearing out all the pavement. Digging up new services and running all that, so yeah, right, like doing it as part of this project, you're not paying any of that kind of removal of existing pavement, new pavement, all that stuff, cause that's already gonna be done and already tore up for the road, so. Yeah, probably around, I would imagine double, and, with anything,
Yeah.
as years go by,
Nice,
things
or
get
you're gonna
more
charge them
expensive.
for it.
Careful, quant,
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with cost of cement, you're gonna look at quant 20 times the amount.
yeah,
I mean, as long as people still have the option to say yay or nay, I guess I'm okay with it, because I mean, they do have established wells out there. I mean, and as long as they know that the price is this,
Well, Yeah, and I agree with you. As long as they know it's free this time and it's gonna cost you on your own
I
in
think it
5
just
years,
needs to
10
be clearly
years,
communicated,
whatever,
that
you know.
this is how this is, you know. I think we all get letters like that and we've sent them to customers, like, in all of our businesses, but just like, this is what it could be. This is an estimate, you know, 3 or 4 years, 2 years down the road. This is what it could.
What is this list for?
That was just a rough estimate of just raw materials I have made.
Okay.
And then now we're obviously working with Shadow on this, so they would get a way more accurate number on what the total cost would be.
So we're gonna put it out to bid. That's what we're voting on.
To include it as part of the project.
Okay.
But I mean, essentially, you're committing to the cost of it then, because once the bid comes in,
Yeah,
it's contracted.
that'd be for 25th and 26th this year. And then Lomar, the North Street and subsequent either next year or the following year. That roadway project.
So how did you address the cost issues, like on some of these? Like when I was reading the other day, like, have you responded to them at all, or only like, the couple people that had a lot of questions?
No, because we just don't have those accurate numbers like cost of installation, cost of installation. So I don't wanna call them and say, yeah, it's gonna be 3,000, when in reality it'll be more. But if we're gonna cover the cost up front, and at this point, the cost of installation would be 0, they would just take on the minimum connection fee plus the water.
I mean, I guess I'm okay moving forward with it and doing this as long as once we do get something typed up, and, you know, some kind of a rough draft of like a breakdown so that we can send it back out to the people who, you know, are gonna be affected by it, the same ones that we sent this stuff to.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, they're going to all have to respond,
Yeah.
once we send out official communication, because they're gonna have to confirm whether they're gonna connect or not.
Right,
And you could wind up with 7 people who said they weren't interested in connecting and none of them do, and then you just have the water main and running the service to the right way. Or maybe they all will, and then you'll pay all of those service lines, but I mean, ultimately. the
And
commitment is the
eventually-
Water main.
if somebody's well fails and they can't get a new permit from DNR, you know, it is there. I mean, it would be nice to connect that loop all the way back and around, just for water pressure purposes and water main breaks in the event that there's something.
Residuals out there too, just
Yeah.
more users,
Yeah,
makes the system healthier.
I guess I'm okay moving forward with it if, like I said, once we get everything back, the people have like a clear communication as to what's setting up for what it's gonna cost them. And timelines and stuff, yeah. Just to be as transparent with everybody.
Yeah, they'll have to coordinate with everybody on those services. Especially the ones that are gonna hook onto it. And
We don't, I mean, this isn't close to the number of ones that we sent out, I'm assuming, so.
Which, I mean, it'll only be the affected ones of 25th and 26th right now that we need to be
Really
concerned about, but.
Is the
Most of them, I think
majority
that's only-
people affected, I think there's only 3 homes on Lomar that are actually affected.
Oh, okay.
And then, what's the other street, there's a couple.
100 lanes all serviced already.
One
Yeah,
there.
no, I'm ready to motion, no,
Okay.
motion to approve.
Yeah, the one.
All in favor?
I,
I,
that's it.
All right. And discussion on ROV inspections.
Enjoy your steak. Oh, that's right, we're in 7-2 hours fast.
Yeah, the RV inspections,